Hi everyone, welcome back to the 21 and Sensory podcast with me, Emily. On today's show, I have the wonderful special guest, Claire. Claire is houseplant-obsessed and has a fab YouTube channel called The Jungle Haven. She started her YouTube channel to make videos about the things she has learnt and continues to learn on her indoor gardening journey, and provides tips and tricks so that subscribers can keep their own houseplants happy and healthy. Claire has almost 200,000 subscribers and creates all sorts of videos on her channel, including dispelling houseplant myths, how-to videos such as repotting houseplants and propagating them, and videos on plant styling and interiors. Her lovely rescue dog Yoli features in her videos lots, including in the opening intro, which of course adds to their charm, and both Claire and Yoli potter about in chatty plant chore videos and houseplant tours, where Claire tends to her collection of almost 300 plus plants. So I'm very excited to chat to Claire about all things plants and life. So Claire, do you want to say hi?
Hello, thank you so much for having me on.
No worries.
It's
I
a
hope that
pleasure to be
intro kind of encapsulated.
Absolutely. I mean, plant mad with a crazy dog, I think it pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, that's the short version.
Yeah.
Excellent. So usually I start the podcast by kind of going over if you have any diagnoses and just a bit about you and your life.
So I have got an ADHD diagnosis, but it's a bit of a weird one because it didn't it didn't come about until slightly later in life, but it's actually only something that I've really started looking into and I guess kind of identifying more with in the last few years. So throughout school, I knew that I struggled academically. I struggled with focus. I always just told myself I wasn't academic. Um, so yeah, that was a bit of a struggle. And when I actually went to drama school when I was 18, I got a dyslexia diagnosis, and that kind of made sense. And we're like, that's why school was a bit tricky and whatnot. Um, and then so I did a foundation course at drama school first, and then I went on to do my BA. And when I went to my BA, I had to get reassessed for dyslexia. There's various things they can put in place for you if you have a dyslexia diagnosis, like they give you gels for your scripts and stuff, and you get extra time with certain things. And when I was going through the process of being diagnosed again with dyslexia or having their assessment, they kept calling me back for other things. And I wasn't completely aware of it at the time, but I was having lots of I just really assumed it was a more in-depth dyslexia test. And when it came back, it said ADHD and dyslexia. And the only person at that point that I had ever known to have ADHD was a family friend, a guy that I am still very close with. And as a child, he was just kind of like bouncing off the walls, like absolutely crazy. And I was like, well, that's what ADHD is. Like, of course I don't have it. And I remember saying it to my mum, and I was like, it's come back with ADHD. And we both kind of laughed. We were like, well, obviously that's wrong. Um, and that was when I was 21, and I have just turned 32 now. And it was only when I was in my late 20s, having almost just pushed this diagnosis to the side for the last 10 or so years, I started seeing more and more stuff pop up on social media to do with ADHD. And I just started identifying with so much of it that I just started thinking, maybe I do need to look at this a little bit more. Maybe I do need to kind of, I don't know, get what I thought it was out of my head and dig a bit deeper. And actually, yeah, it is me through and through. And I only wish that I'd known about it sooner.
Hmm. Oh, that's so interesting. Also weird that you had to be like reassessed for dyslexia.
I've no idea why. I honestly don't know why. I don't know if maybe it was, I really don't know why.
Yeah, and the fact
But
that you were
yeah,
kind of like going through other diagnostic stuff and without
yeah.
really knowing as well.
I'm not sure if it's just a specific to each drama school thing. I really don't know what it was.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but yeah.
interesting because I found out I was dyslexic when I did my foundation course as well.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
wonder if they just like screen people on foundation courses, maybe? I don't know.
They do.
I don't know how
I
that
don't
works.
know. I mean, my reading and writing was something that I struggled quite a bit with. And again, I didn't really know anything about dyslexia, but I remember saying that it looks like the words on the page were moving, and they were like, let's test you for dyslexia.
Okay.
I
Isn't
don't
it mad? Like until that point, no one had really thought to
know.
maybe
I
ask you.
know. I mean, we didn't look into things. I mean, it wasn't even that long ago, but I mean, even when we were at school, I was going to say also, we've recently found out that we actually went to school together, which is
Oh yeah, we
such
did.
a weird coincidence.
Small world.
It is such a small world. Um, but yeah, it's just weird to think that we were both kind of struggling in different ways with things that weren't diagnosed, and um, the school that we were at wasn't necessarily the most supportive of, or didn't know about
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of this stuff.
definitely a bit of both. I feel like also if you're relatively well behaved and not a pain,
Mm,
then you kind of go under the radar in terms of,
absolutely.
yeah. And I think being girls as well.
Yeah, you're so right.
We can definitely try and touch on school at some point. Maybe I know we're both like jaded by it,
I
but
know, we've blocked out all the memories.
yeah. But it's interesting you saying like you've seen it like coming up more and more on social media about like
Mm,
ADHD stuff as well. Like I definitely felt like when I was diagnosed, I feel like there wasn't that much stuff online, but
mm,
like more and more, I feel like there's like more of a neurodivergent community and people sharing stuff.
definitely.
And it's just nice to know that it sounds weird, but it's nice to know that other people are struggling with the same like stuff as you,
Oh,
sort of thing.
isn't it just? It's so
Yeah.
refreshing. And like I know we were speaking earlier, like I was saying in a weird way, although like there's a big part of me that really wishes I got the diagnosis earlier and looked into it earlier, there's also like a really big part of me that is kind of like, okay, the fact that I've got it now that I'm older and everything suddenly makes sense, you almost, or I at least almost feel like I embrace it more so than I might have done if I had done when I was at school,
Hmm.
because I'm more open to embracing, I guess, the unusual parts of myself as an adult now.
Hmm.
Um, and figuring out who I am and like attempting to drop the mask that has been up for all these years. So yeah, I think like it can in some ways be quite a positive thing.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, my next sort of question was like the positives and negatives
Mm.
in terms of YouTube is now your full time job. Does your ADHD help in terms of kind of things with your plants, but also does it hinder you in terms of, having to get things done and stuff? What I'm trying to say is it must be a juggling act with ADHD in the mix.
I mean, it really is, but I think I count myself incredibly lucky now to be doing what I'm doing. Um, I think so. I've worked a myriad of jobs over the years. As I say, I trained as an actor, and whilst I was pursuing acting, I did lots of fun and interesting things. And I really, really, really struggled working in a 9 to 5 environment, as I know a lot of people do, but with someone else kind of telling me how I should be working and their way of working. And um, I'm naturally quite a creative person, I think. And honestly, the whole YouTube thing kind of happened by accident. But what I do now, I really feel so lucky that I'm able to manage my own time based on what I'm feeling on the day. I can go into my day with a plan that completely changes, which
Mhm.
allows me to be able to focus on the things that I am feeling passionate and not scared about that day. Like something in the morning might feel like a great idea, and by lunchtime it feels completely overwhelming. I know there's a lot of people that don't have that luxury. So yeah, most of the time there's obviously struggles with it as well, but most of the time it is a job that works really well for me.
Yeah. And the fact that, like you say, you can rearrange your day and it doesn't, you're not affecting like a team of people sort of thing. It's you and you're responsible for
Yeah.
yourself. I can get that, yeah, works for you. And I also love how in your videos as well, you're very kind of open and honest about the plants and how you look after them. Like you're like, this is my full-time job. Like I do have more time to look
Mm,
after them than
totally.
the average person would. And I think you're very good at being like, plant pests aren't a sign that you can't look after plants, like it's
Mhm.
a natural thing. And the fact that this is your full-time job, and I feel like you're very good at every so often being like, but I have this time to do it, so don't feel like you don't, sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Thank you. I mean, I started obviously. I mean, I still am a hobbyist, but I have just taken that into now making a living off it. But it started as just, well, I mean, it started as a hyperfixation that has continued that way, but it's one that's really stuck. But yeah, like I think I mean, it's the whole social media world that we live in nowadays, isn't it? Where like everything you see online is so perfect, and I'm guilty of that myself. Like I'll take a picture and I'm like, oh, my plant doesn't look very good from that angle, and I'm like, for God's sake, Claire, what are you doing? But yeah, like I try my best to remind the people and myself really that might watch and engage with my videos that like I'm in a very privileged position. I do have more time than most people would do to dedicate to watering plants and checking for pests. And even with that time and doing it as a job, I still encounter issues very regularly. So, yeah, it's just, despite the fact I do social media, reminding people that we don't live in a social media world off camera.
Yeah, exactly. I think because people see that maybe like slice of your life, they assume, that might be what you're doing all the time. But I
Yeah.
imagine there's a lot of admin and planning and
Yeah.
all sorts. Like the creative bit is exciting, but it's not all creative, is it?
No, absolutely not. And I mean, honestly, that's the bit where I still absolutely struggle. Like, I know everyone's got things that they like doing better than others, and I and I now know again that this is a classic thing with ADHD, but on definitely a daily basis, multiple times a day, I will make the most intricate excuses for myself that I end up actually almost kidding myself that I believe, so that I don't have to face certain things, and they can be the silliest things. Um, like for example, my tax return. Like I know I've got to do that, and I know the deadline is rapidly approaching, and there will come a point where I will get so freaked out and stressed that I will just do it, but I will have to get myself pretty worked up. I'm not one of these people that can be like, "Oh, I'll do it at the end of each month." No, I'm not that person.
I like that you know that though, and you're like,
Yeah. I
you've
do
accepted
I
that.
wish I could take that bit away, but yeah, no, it is very much how I am.
Also, I love that you said in a recent video that you'd had like a procrastination haircut, which I was just like, yes, like
Yeah.
I get that. Like,
Oh,
also
yeah.
your hair looks lovely,
Oh,
but
thanks.
I love that you were just like, I needed to do anything but the thing, so I cut my hair.
Oh god, yeah, no, I will do that all the time. I mean, I'm queen of procrastination haircuts. I've done a few in my time, pretty drastic ones. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know if you ever find this, but I will just think, okay, right, I need to send this email. In fact, Emily, this is a really good example. You sent me an email the other day when I got back to you and I said, I'm so sorry, I've had a few days off emailing.
Yes.
You sent me an email, and for some reason, the thought of replying to that email at the time felt so huge that I was like, I must make myself lunch first. And I made myself lunch, and I was like, well, then I must tidy the kitchen. And I literally went through this whole list of things to the point that I was almost going to send you a voice note and make an excuse for why I hadn't got back to your email. And I'm like, Claire, you could have got back to the email like 20 times over instead of doing all of this stuff. But for some reason, I still will do everything else.
I get you. I know what you mean, the kind of paralysis that comes with like
Yeah.
an email that requires like a bit of thought to go back to kind of thing, or like a few answers to stuff, which
Mhm.
I know we were kind of emailing back and forth, so I definitely get that. Um, and yeah, also a fan of voice memos for that
Yes.
reason. Um, but it feels so much easier to do everything else, doesn't it? It
It
feels
really
so much
does.
more, I don't know, little achievements you can make before doing the thing. And
Yeah.
then you realize the thing doesn't take that long,
I
or you
know.
can do
It's
it, 5 times over.
yeah, it's over in a second. You're like, "What was that all about?"
Yeah.
But, yeah,
No.
no, there's some things, I mean, a classic one for me is just getting back to messages, even with people that I absolutely love. I really like, I can be back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then all of a sudden something will just make me almost kind of want to ghost them, and I'm like, these are, like, my friends, my family, people that I love so much, but it like, I really like, it's like a lot of people find it funny, and I'm like, it is funny to a certain extent, but also I just spend so much of the time feeling bad, and so many of my messages will start with, "I'm so sorry I haven't messaged you for a month after you sent me that message," and stuff, and yeah.
It's hard though, because I kind of feel like there's like the work admin and the life admin of keeping up. And I feel like if you're a freelancer, you're the only person that is doing both of those things.
Yeah.
So you're trying to kind of, you're doing like business messages, but also personal messages, and they
Yeah,
kind of blend into one kind of, oh, I need to get back to
absolutely.
everyone.
Yes, no, totally,
Yeah.
totally. And yeah, it can be quite hard. I mean, I think there's pros and cons from, I don't know what you find, but like working from home, but sometimes
Mm.
switching off from the work can also be a bit weird because you're like, I am remaining in my work environment all the
Yeah.
time. So it can be quite easy to slip into home mode and into work mode at times that aren't necessarily meant for that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I also kind of feel like it's nice to work at a desk, but sometimes it's just nice to sit on the sofa with your laptop, like, and change it up a bit rather than having to sit at a desk. But then you're right, like, where does it kind of start and end your like
Mm,
work day kind of thing?
yeah,
So yeah, I definitely get that. And just knowing you don't have to work at a desk is quite nice sometimes.
it is.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
I feel like you've talked a little bit about foundation course and the
Yes.
BA. Was there anything else you wanted to mention about that, or?
Um, oh, I don't know really. I mean, so yeah, no, you're right. We've kind of gone in a roundabout order. So secondary school foundation course. Um, so you did 4 years in total at drama school, which
Mhm.
I loved. That was the first time, kind of like what you said about uni. The first time since school, I was like, I feel like I've kind of found my people.
Mhm.
Um, but even then, like I think one thing that's just been so apparent to me long before the like finding out that I had ADHD or like looking into the diagnosis was that my focus is something I really, really struggle with. And that's both socially and um when I say academically, like when there's a task at hand. Which it kind of is weird because I can also be like the world's most focused person when I need to be.
Mhm.
Um, but often in like class, even when I went to drama school, if there was something that I didn't quite understand or wasn't being explained in a way that quite slotted with my brain, I would just feel myself drifting off and like getting really tired. And I was like, oh God, I'm falling asleep when someone's speaking to me. This is awful. But obviously, like just information did just hit a block and I
Mm.
stopped processing it. And like I am unbelievably great at acting like I'm still in a conversation when I'm not sometimes. I've got things that I do nowadays to kind of help me stay in more, but sometimes, yeah, that was something that I always just thought, like, God, I would be so hard on myself, and I was like, kind of like, why are you so lazy? Like, why can you not listen? Like, are you just so self-involved that you're not interested in other people? Like I don't know. That's one of the things that I, again, when I started looking into the ADHD, I was like, oh my God. I was like, yes, that is me because I like to think that I am interested in other people and I do listen well. Um, but yeah, no, that was definitely something throughout life that,
Mhm.
yeah, from those phases.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because like you're saying, like sometimes you can be so kind of hyper focused. I don't know if you get like where you get into almost like a flow state where you like lose time almost if you're so
Oh my
in.
goodness,
Yeah.
yes.
So actually, sometimes it can be really kind of helpful if you're trying to get stuff done, I guess,
Mm.
and you lose track of time. But then, yeah, the opposite is, yeah, chaotic.
I think
So,
it's just things at both extremes. There's kind of the
yeah.
zoning out, switch, like literally, quite literally switching off, and then, like for example, if I get into a video edit that I'm like it's pernickety and it's fine, like it's something that has really engaged my brain. I could go from 5 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night without eating, without getting a glass of water. Sometimes I literally like I blink and I'm like, God, when was the last time I blinked? Or I'll take a deep breath and I'm like, God, I forgot to breathe. Like it really absorbs you so much. Um, so I guess it's just kind of like reminding yourself to try and strike a balance with these things. I've
Mhm.
always said like I struggle with balance, and that has been my kind of phrase for life up until more recently, where I've started saying I have got ADHD, and that is what kind of I think I've been saying in the whole balance thing.
Yeah, I think once you kind of start to be able to say it to people, I think it just it's so much easier being honest, I think,
Mm,
as well, just to be
yeah.
upfront and be like, look, I struggle with this, like rather than trying to mask it and
Mm,
like muddle through it. But I get that, yeah, having a late diagnosis, it's kind of hard once you're out of education to kind of, unless you're kind of working with clients and stuff and
mm.
kind of saying, like, just so you know, my brain works this way. Like, it's a bit tricky. Yeah, I think that's why I always put like I'm an autistic illustrator and designer.
Yeah.
It's like just so you know
Yeah.
at the start. Um, but yeah, I think because I heard you talk about kind of your ADHD struggles in a video. I think you were doing kind of plant chores at the same time, sort of thing. But I was like, oh, like you'd never kind of know that
Mm.
this was something you were struggling with, and it was only because you were kind of chatting through stuff, and like I think you were just kind of struggling because you'd I think it was your birthday coming up or something, and you had like
Oh, yeah.
plans, and you were like, I usually do nothing, but I'm doing something. And I was like, ooh. So yeah, I definitely feel that. Or like I don't know if you get it in your head where like an appointment or a meeting will take up the entire day.
Oh
Like
my goodness, yes.
it
Yeah.
could be like 3 till 4 p.m., but I'm like, oh
Mhm.
my God, until I get to that point, I can't get
Oh my
past
God.
it.
100%. If I know that I've got somewhere to be at 5:30 in the evening and I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, I will really struggle to do anything with my day because I'm just waiting.
Yeah, yeah. You feel like you've got to get past that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'm with
I
you.
also find that I will get ready for things, like, way too early because I'm like, "I must start preparing, I must start preparing."
But do you find as well, like sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it early, and then you'll still be running late anyway? Because I
Yeah.
find that I'm like, how? But I was
Absolutely,
so ahead of
absolutely.
myself.
But again, I think it's that kind of, like, almost chasing the stress in some ways, like,
Yeah,
I really wish I really wish I had less stress in my life, but I do know that I, like, create the stress to a certain degree because I almost wouldn't operate at a high functioning level if I didn't have that stress.
yeah,
So, like, for example, if I'm getting a train in the morning, I'll get my bag ready and, like, I'll get everything ready the night before. Guaranteed morning of, I'll be running around like a headless chicken. I'm like, "Oh my God, why is it taking so long?" And I'm like, "I was prepared. Like, why does this always happen?"
it's all yeah. I get that. Like no matter how prepared you are, there's always something that's gonna kind of
Yeah.
ruin that to some extent, or something you're gonna forget along the way. Um, yeah, especially when trying to get a train. It's stress. Just that in itself is stressful.
I think it's just working on other people's time. I think I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
You get so
Yeah,
used to being able to do things in your own time when you're self-employed, and like I said earlier, it's such a luxury, but it does make you quite used to living that way, and sometimes it means that then meeting time schedules that aren't your own are a bit like, "Ooh, this is
yeah,
interesting."
yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? Trying to, I don't know. I feel like also like different. Obviously, trains have their own schedules, but like different people run on like different time zones. It seems, and some people just, yeah, it's really hard to work with some people because of that. I feel. Um, yeah, we went off on a tangent again. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, maybe we should talk more about plants. So, where did your love of plants kind of first come from, or when were you kind of first aware it was like a sort of hyperfixation sort of thing? Like, when did it first sort of start your collection?
Um, so I liked the look of plants from when I was probably like in my early 20s. I thought they looked really cool. Like I don't know, you'd see like cool pictures of like interior design things and they'd have plants to them and I'd be like, oh, that's really nice. That looks really pretty. Um, and so I had a plant in my room, or maybe a couple of plants in my room when I was living away from home for the first time when I went to drama school, and I really liked them. And then I got loads of fake plants, loads of plastic plants, and I was like, I like the look of those. Um, and I think really it kind of started from just being bad with plants. Like I had a plant. I moved back home. I've moved back home a few times actually, but I moved back home with my mum, and she had a plant upstairs in the kitchen. And I remember being like, I'm gonna take that to my room, and I took it to my room, and I was like, I watered it every single day, and I was like, I'm gonna be the best with plants. And obviously, the plant died. And so that kind of sent me on, okay, well, why did the plant die? And usually when I show interest in something and like, I don't know, it can like escalate really quite quickly. So I think probably within the space of a couple of weeks, I had 20 plants. Um, and then, yeah, lockdown hit. And uh, I think actually, I don't quite know how I got beyond that because I had about, I think, 80 to 100 at the point of lockdown.
Right. Okay.
Um, but I was still working weird and wonderful jobs. And then, yeah, I just went absolutely plant crazy. I was buying plants left, right, and center. I started an Instagram account where I was like posting pictures of my plants on there, and got incredibly obsessed and started thinking, okay, how can I do more with this? How can I make it bigger and better? And so yeah, started a little shop, and that's where the Jungle Haven started. I don't do my shop anymore, but yeah, that's where it all kind of escalated to the extreme, I would say.
Hmm.
I think the most I've ever had in my collection, my personal collection, is about 500 at one point,
Okay.
which is too many for me. I couldn't keep on top of it.
I
um,
mean, the fact that you have 300-ish plus
I
at the
think I'm
moment
probably
now.
just below that now. I've had a bit of a
Yeah.
cull this year. I've passed a few things on to other homes, um, but yeah, I think the lovely thing about plants that I found is that I've never been particularly good at just being still and like meditating. And I've always been so envious of the people that can be like, oh, I just went and sat in silence and tuned into my thoughts. And I know.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, I know. I've always been so much more of a doer.
Mm.
And when I started getting into plant care, not just the look of plants, but actually taking time to do something and like repot or like watch things over a period of time, it almost gave me the effect of stillness and meditation whilst I was able. I guess it's kind of like people that like craft a lot. Like you're doing something, but you're also
Yeah.
tuning in and being very still.
Like therapeutic kind of wise.
Massively so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a real thing for me that I guess, like, yeah, again, like I became like happily addicted to. Like I love buying plants. I love caring for the plants. I love literally like my life became plants. And often with these kind of hyperfixations, they will fizzle out, and I'll just suddenly be like, oh, I haven't thought about that thing in ages, and this is one that has just really, really stuck, and I
Hmm.
really can't imagine my life without it now.
Yeah, I guess like a lot of your kind of week must be kind of checking in on the plants and making sure that they are kind of happy and not, I was going
Dying.
to say like, yeah, dying or filling up with pests kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
but interesting that you started to like run a shop because that in itself can be quite stressful, can't it? Were you almost kind of selling like sort of like cuttings and like propagation kind of things, or were you doing more like full plant?
So I did a bit of both.
Okay.
I found a really good supplier in, I think it was Holland initially. This, as I say, like I looked into everything really quite quickly and just kind of got it up and running.
Mhm.
It was a great focus to have over lockdown, where I was just kind of sat around twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah.
And yes, I was selling pots, I was selling plants, I was selling uh, cuttings of my own, I was selling all sorts. Um, and initially, I absolutely loved it. Like, I loved the creating a visual social media side of it. I loved the kind of like, I guess, artistic elements of making everything look really nice. I'm like very meticulous and stuff like that, and it gives me a real like kick. So I love that. Um, I guess I enjoyed feeling like I had a purpose in my presence online, because I'd come off like personal social media and all that sort of stuff a while ago, actually. But it was really nice to kind of feel like I was starting to build a community of like people that also were into the same thing as me. But really quite quickly, the shop element became like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't like a massive booming shop. Like I was getting sales most days, but it wasn't mega. But it was just
That's a lot though,
it was
most
a lot.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the like packing up orders and stuff. I started to get, we were saying earlier about like when there's a task that you
Yeah.
that's the task you do everything else to avoid. I was finding that I was doing that. And at one point I was like, God, I was like, I've got 50 orders to pack up and send out. And I don't know how to start it. Like I am so like, it feels like a fear. I feel so scared of starting.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I also again moved back home at that point. And this was during lockdown now. And I kind of said, okay, well, I'm back at my mum's house. It's not realistic for me to run my shop at this point. But I think actually, in a way, when I said that, it was a breath of fresh air because I was like, okay, I can just focus on the other jobs that I was doing at the time. And I wasn't like monetized on YouTube or anything at that point, but I was really enjoying just chatting and trying to, if I'd learned something, trying to pass that on to other people and just showing each other our plants and talking about plants. And that was just a side of it that I really, really liked.
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, like over time I started thinking like could this potentially become something that I could monetize? Could this be something that could become a job for me? It would be wonderful if it could. um and again, I was living back at home at that point, so I don't think I'd have been able to do this otherwise, honestly, but or maybe I would have done, but I wouldn't have been brave enough to. I kind of said, right, I'm going to step away from my other job for just a month and I'm going to give this everything and I'm just going to see what I can do.
Okay.
Um, and it was a scary month, but in that month I was like, okay, I was like, I've made a bit of money here. Like maybe I could turn this into more of a thing. And so yeah, it was a real struggle at first, um, but yeah, 4 years later, it's what I'm still doing. So
Wow.
yeah.
And almost 200K subscribers in that
Yeah.
amount of time is mad.
Yeah, no, it's like there's been obviously, I mean, as you well know, you're on social media yourself, but like sometimes things will really peak and you'll like get lots of new eyes on your channel and then sometimes they won't and sometimes they'll drop off. But no, I've got a lovely, really lovely community of people that I chat to frequently on YouTube, on my Patreon, on all sorts of kind of social media. So yeah, it's
That's
been
nice.
it's been great.
I feel like you've got quite a loyal following as well, in that people kind of return to see your kind of next videos, or will want to kind of do their plant chores with you, kind of thing. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like some of your videos are very much kind of like the kind of body doubling side of like ADHD, where it's like you're like, grab a cup of tea and a biscuit, or do your like plant chores with me, kind of thing. And I feel like it's kind of motivating as well. So I feel like people just come back kind of for that each time, and for the company as well,
Yeah.
I think, just because you're so good at kind of creating like this kind of safe and very chill space where you're very honest about, like, I'm struggling with this plant, it's got thrips again, and stuff. Like, it's just nice that you're just like, I've tried everything, I've put
Yeah.
it outside for a month and it's still
Yep.
it's still here and it's still got it. But it's just quite nice. Yeah, it doesn't feel like overly, I don't know, acted
Yeah.
sort of thing. And it must be weird for you to have gone from kind of such a scripted world to a kind of more free and kind
Yeah,
of,
I get like, I
yeah.
mean, so when I first started on YouTube, I did script all of my videos pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I do things, I mean, I've been on YouTube for just over 5 years now, and I do things very differently nowadays. But yeah, exactly like what you just said about the like the body doubling element. I know I do have regular comments from people saying like, "Thank you for helping me get on with stuff today because I was really struggling to get on with bits." And I've got some people that comment saying, "I'm not even into plants, but
Oh, really?
I find your videos just help me get on with my housework and stuff." And like, great, if I can do that for someone, fantastic. It also helps me. Like when I get the camera rolling, I feel like I'm more accountable for what I need to get on top of. So
Mhm,
it works both ways. Like I really do, I really do mean that. Like it's great that people want to watch, but also it is really great for myself in
mhm.
terms of staying on top. Um, so yeah, like I've made a lovely community of a lot of them. I'd count as like genuine friends now over on kind of planty social media. Um, I think obviously not through and through, but I think it does attract a lot of people, um, a lot of neurodivergent people, um, because I think, as with anything, I think maybe when you deep dive on a passion, you get lots of people that are more in touch with themselves, and I don't know, I can't quite put it into words, but it does seem to attract people that are slightly neurospicy sometimes, not always,
Yeah.
but sometimes. Um,
Yeah, and I think also the way you chat about plants, you make it very accessible. I mean, you do know like the Latin names and stuff, and I'm always like, wow. But you do make it very kind of accessible and not as daunting as maybe some of the more, I don't know, there's kind of more like professional, very kind of, I don't know, stale plant channels where it just feels a bit like overwhelming, like you need all the kit, you need this and that. And whereas you're very much kind of like, you know, you've got your like cupboard where you've got like pots and things,
Yeah,
and you just keep a kind of stack of bits and pieces and use what you've got kind of thing. And I feel like that's quite nice as well, especially as a beginner to kind of plants and things. You don't want to be, yeah, feeling like you haven't got all the bits and pieces to get started. But
absolutely. I mean, what I'd really love with my channel is for people that maybe have just bought their very first plant to be able to come over and go, oh, okay, well, maybe like there's no need to buy more, but maybe I will. And if I do, I kind of know that I can learn in a way that I guess kind of my favorite way of learning, like learning, but not feeling like you're kind of having to sit down and like take notes. Like just someone's just chatting about things in a way that hopefully is understandable. Um, and you can actually kind of see a physical demonstration with it as well. So it's, I don't know, it feels like you can just kind of apply it to however big your collection is, whether it's one plant or 100 plants, using things a lot of the time that you've just got around the house already.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's also kind of good as well in terms of the environment as well. And I guess if you're a planty person anyway, like that's going to be kind of important to you as well, is being able to reuse things. And
Yeah.
I love the way you just use old kind of containers and things, or like the little teacups that you've got, which are super cute. You can use lots of different things as
Yeah,
like little pots and growing things.
totally.
But yeah, and also like the fact that like other kind of planty creators, like it
Mhm.
must be nice to be able to like share plants with them and share like cuttings and things with them. Like I guess if you're trying to like slim down your kind of plant collection, it must be
Yeah,
helpful to know those sorts of people to be like, I will give you this.
it's great, you know. I mean, I've made so many lovely friends through the plant community, and one of my best friends who also is on YouTube, she's good growing on YouTube. Her name's Emma, and we do like videos together from time to time. And I mean, she's actually coming over this week, and she's bringing me some plants that she doesn't want anymore. And so we kind of just
Excellent.
trade things about, and it's a wonderful way to not have to spend loads of money a lot of the time. And
Yeah,
to be able to go, oh, I don't want to buy that for myself. Here, have a cutting, and it's just a really nice, wholesome, lovely world most of the time.
that's really nice. And being able to like collab as well, I feel like that helps with kind of both your channels, doesn't it? In terms of reach,
It's a
you get
fun
kind
way
of
to exactly. It's a fun way to be able to kind of be like, cool, let's work together, but it doesn't feel like work.
yeah.
Really, it just feels like we're hanging out and talking about plants, which is what we would be doing if we weren't filming.
Yeah, that's
um,
nice as
so
well.
yeah,
And the fact that she's bringing plants.
exactly.
I feel like especially garden centres these days, I know the price of pretty much everything has gone up, but some plants
Mm,
can be really expensive.
yeah.
So I kind of feel like, like I know you have had the plant rescuer um
Yes, Sarah.
on your channel, and I love her videos.
Yeah,
But like just the fact that you can potentially rescue the more discount kind of plants that you see at garden
yeah.
centres and things. You don't have to buy you know the most amazing looking ones when they're really expensive. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like you just said, the plant rescuer, Sarah Gerrard-Jones, she's created this wonderful thing where um she her rescue boxes are now in, I think, like loads of shops, not just in the UK, like around Europe, I think,
oh, okay.
where plant shops will go, okay, well, these ones aren't ones that we'd put on general sale, but let's put them in a rescue box, send them out to someone that's prepared to rehab them. And it like, I mean, plants, flowers, like it can all be so disposable and seen as such, um, I guess, kind of like a fashion statement, like just home decor.
Mm.
I think it's really good to have these things in place to allow people to firstly get the plants that they might not be able to get usually, because you're right, they can be expensive, but also to be able to give these things a new lease of life and not just throw them away. It's so sad. It's so sad that happens so much.
Yeah, and honestly, it sounds like you know, the kind of like wonky vegetable boxes. It sounds
Yeah.
like that for plants, but
It
that just sounds
really
like Christmas in a box. Like,
Yeah.
how exciting would that be?
Oh, honestly, it's brilliant. I've got a few rescue boxes over the years, and they're so much fun, especially because you don't know what you're gonna get. It's kind of like plant
Yeah.
pick a mix.
Yeah, because I feel like, sorry, I'm always like, and I watched this video, but
No.
I think you unboxed one of her boxes when you were
Yes,
talking
I
to her,
did. I did.
which
Yeah.
I love, and you were just like, "Oh."
I think
I
this is when she'd first launched the rescue boxes, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Which would have been a few years ago now. But yeah, I've got some amazing plants and rescue boxes over the years that I either might not have chosen for myself or I wouldn't have been able to afford. And yeah, they're just great.
It's a good way of kind of, I guess, expanding your collection, but
Mm,
a bit of a, like, mystery box vibe at the
totally.
same time.
Absolutely.
I feel like we've got to ask you about your plant room because I can see it in the background,
Yeah.
and I know that you've obviously recently done, like, a plant tour. T
Yes.
tell me how are you enjoying having more room for your plants? Because I know you were in a flat
I
previously.
was. So yeah, I was in a one-bedroom flat with I think at one point around about 350 plants.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so that was a squeeze, and also my dog, who is quite big, and then my partner, who moved in uh, after about a year of me living there, I think. So yeah, it was a squeeze, but having the space here now, we've recently moved to a house. It's lovely. I feel so lucky. When we were kind of looking for places to live, I was like, I just need somewhere that's just got a space that I could. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying a whole house is planty, but have a space that I can keep my plant mess if I need to. Like if I want to have moss on the floor, I can have some moss on the floor, and we're not kind of having to push it aside on the dining table or whatever, which is definitely
Yeah.
what we were doing before. So yeah, it feels so wonderful to finally have a space that I can just have purely for that. Again, that's something I think when I go into that space, that slightly helps to separate the work from home. I mean, obviously, I
Mhm.
spend time in there off camera as well, but it's my space that I go into purely to do planty things.
That's nice though, like, to have that sort of separation.
It's really
Um,
nice.
and also I love that you're already, like, dreaming about, like, the next kind of, like, greenhouse extension-y kind of you're like, "In a few years."
I know, I'm like, "Oh, Claire, just appreciate what you've got," but no, my brain can't help but think about 10 steps ahead.
No, I mean, I don't blame you, and, like, also your, like, terrarium kind of idea with your
Yes,
cabinet sounds
yeah.
really cool, but I can appreciate how massive a job that must feel to get going on.
Again, kind of feeding back into the, like, I don't know. I have sometimes these huge ideas that I will get so unbelievably excited about. God, I could tell you a million of them, but things that I get so excited about and so like, yeah, I'm going to make this happen, and oh my God, this is going to be great. And then I will suddenly become so overwhelmed by that idea. I think probably because I've thought too much about it, to the point that I just go into absolute shut off. Like, um, I've had so many weird hyperfixations over the years, but like the terrarium cabinet is, I think, currently one that I've spoken about so much, I've thought about so much, like I've designed it all out on Photoshop exactly how I want to do it, and
Oh my
I've got a
god.
list of all the materials, and like I'm like, okay, now I need to start, and I'm like, okay, starting feels really scary, so I think I'll just carry on talking about it.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Oh, I
so
love that
yeah.
you photoshopped it
Oh,
to
I always again, like, I always do that. I think, like, even before we moved in here, I was, like, creating little Photoshop plans of what everything was gonna look like and, like, oh god, I get ridiculously obsessed.
That's so cute. I like that though, to be able to, like, pre-visualize a space before you
Yeah,
kind of go in and kind of know what you're gonna do. As long as Ross is also
I
on board with
prefer
that.
doing it together. I mean, obviously, I was gonna say it's been a bit of a weird one because I have realized what a control freak I am. And before this, I was living by myself, and I obviously was able to just go in and do the flat exactly how I wanted it, and like put my plants wherever I wanted. And it's been wonderful creating a space with him as well. But yeah, I've had to really be like, come on, Claire, like don't be so silly about certain things because I don't know, like sometimes like there'll be a color in the room that I find too overwhelming or something, and like it sounds so silly to a lot of people, but I'll be like, it really does something to my brain. It's like it's the only thing in the room that I can see.
You're
Um,
talking to the right people here.
yeah,
We can get on board with that.
yeah. And yeah, like again, it's not like I mean, I make myself sound like I'm super neat and tidy. I'm not. But even like when I was younger, I'd go through phases of like, I don't know, suddenly becoming really ridiculously obsessively neat and tidy, to the point that if someone would bring their shoes in and put them in my space and they had a pair of like purple shoes, I'd be like, no, I'd be like, no, they can't be in here. And I'd
Mhm.
try and have a conversation with them, but I try and be normal with them, but I couldn't because that was there. Uh, yeah, it's and now again I'm like, oh, maybe this all kind of adds up. But
I'm always like, and how did you not see this in me?
yeah,
Like, my mum and stuff. But if they didn't know, they didn't know.
no,
So
of course not. And I mean, I think you just kind of, I think as well, like nowadays, obviously, there's way more talk about, and we realize how ridiculously common it is for people to have these things. But I think probably growing up, there were so many misconceptions and prejudgments about these names for things and what they actually meant that a lot
mm,
of the very visible now to us signs and symptoms were just seen as like quirky little personality traits.
yeah, it's
Um,
just like, oh, that's Emily, or oh, that's Claire.
yeah,
Like that's just how she
yeah, no, absolutely.
operates. I feel like my mum said that until I she had another girl and was like, oh,
Mm.
this is just Emily.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I was listening to your episode 100 where you brought your mum on
Mm,
recently, and it was really interesting what she was saying about when your family adopted your brother and how they were talking about the kind of a lot of the sensory things that may well apply to him, and she was going, "This is Emily," and
yeah.
it's so interesting that though, isn't it? Because like
Yeah.
no one knows. Parents don't know if they've never seen it before.
No, and I was there first, so they were like, "Okay, this is normal,"
Yeah,
and I was
exactly.
not.
Yeah. Well, I'm an only
Yeah,
child as well, so my mum just had me and, like, didn't know any difference, so yeah,
yeah.
it's just
I
really
guess if you haven't got that comparison at all, yeah,
mm, yeah.
that must be, yeah, tricky. We love our parents, we promise,
Yeah.
even if they didn't spot things. You did kind of mention about kind of crafty stuff then, didn't you?
Mm.
Also, I love Ross is also creative and creates these insane. Are they like rosters? Is that what?
He calls them little rosters,
They're
yeah, he
so cool, and I kind of love that it's like a creative collab in your house. It's almost like a kind of
yeah.
crossover.
It's really awesome actually, like, I've never I don't know, I don't think either of us have ever really had that with someone else, like, we're both into weird and wonderful, crafty, creative things. He is a phenomenal artist, and yeah, his I'd say latest obsession, I mean, something he's got very into in the last few years is, like, polymer clay work,
Mhm.
and yeah, we just kinda sit together and we'll watch something on the telly, or we'll just sit in silence, or we'll chat, and we'll just make weird and wonderful things together, and it's so lovely to have someone to do that with. I've never really done it with someone before, so it's really lovely. Um,
And is it kind of like almost like a hobby for him? He doesn't like sell them kind of
he
thing,
doesn't,
or
he doesn't, and obviously you do not have to monetize your hobbies, but I do
no?
think he should. I do think they do quite
Yeah,
well. Um,
I think so. They look so cool,
they're
and
really awesome.
they're really cool, and I think people would definitely be into that like style as well.
Yeah, I mean, he gets messages from people saying, "Oh, if you ever decide to sell your stuff, please let me know. Like, I'd love to buy this off you." And da, 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 da. But again, I think it's just the thought of, okay, well, we need to think about boxes, and then we need to think about shipping, then we need to think about
Yeah.
packaging. And if it was just a two-step process, I think he'd be doing it already. But I think it's just the faff of everything.
Yeah.
Um,
He almost needs to do like a collab with a shop that will stock them kind of
you
thing
know what?
so
That's
that
not a bad idea. That's not a
yeah.
bad idea. He kind of does. I think you're right.
Yeah, almost like a kind of I don't know what sort of shop, but where he can kind of provide it to them
Yeah,
without the
and they can
shipping and
worry
all that.
about all of the other stuff.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Or even just like a little exhibition.
Yeah. Oh, we've spoken about that. I was like, "What if we go and do a plant show and you make lots of weird and wonderful little planters?" And we've had thoughts.
You've had you're trying to push him, like, come
Yeah.
on. I get though that it's nice to keep a hobby
Y Of
as a hobby.
course, of course.
But yeah, I was gonna say to you as well, like, you've had some really interesting kind of opportunities in terms of like the Malvern like show that you were like a part of, and also like I feel like you've done like some presenting. Was it like Gardener's World
Yes,
sort of?
so I did an episode of Gardener's World a couple of years ago, and I'm the resident houseplant expert on ITV Alan Titchmarsh's Gardening Club at the moment.
How does this occur, Claire? How how and were you like, whoa?
I mean, I was very lucky. They reached out to me. I think they must have come across my YouTube channel. So yeah, on both occasions they reached out, and yeah, ITV is kind of in the we've done season 2. Season 3 has not been confirmed yet, so I can't say anything, but it's a really fun thing to be involved in. Very different from control freak Claire working alone with the camera and being able to like edit things out if it goes wrong.
Mhm.
Um, but no, it's been a wonderful experience. I've loved it, absolutely loved it.
Oh. And they must love that you've got like the most amazing backdrop to film against.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it definitely helps. Like it's been a lot of fun having them over, and I've kind of given them cuttings of stuff, and um,
oh,
I've actually got one of my a very big plants in my collection was given to me by one of the producers on Gardener's World. He was like, "Here's one of my little ones," and I was like, "Ah," and now
oh,
it's this massive thing. So I'm like, "Oh, it's a nice memory to have."
that's cool. And also, like, I remember you saying like one of the plants you'd like bought from your friend's wedding or something. Like,
Yes, that's right. In fact, you might be able
that's
to see it behind me just
oh
there.
yeah,
That one
oh,
there. Yes, so my friend Emma, the one I've already spoken about, she got married just over a year ago now, and
mhm.
had the most beautiful planty wedding. No flowers, all plants. Um,
Oh,
and it was stunning. And yeah, we were all on the dance floor at the end of the night, all kind of like dancing around all these plants and everything. And I was looking at that one, and I was like, I really want that plant. I bought it off the people that provided the plants, and yeah,
oh,
just
that's
if I
cool.
look at it, I'm like, ah, happy memories.
Yeah, and I think that's such a nice way of remembering
Yeah,
like a person or a place, like just to have a little snippet from it.
it's nice that
That's
like as opposed to I've got nothing against flowers, but as opposed to something like flowers, it's something that just keeps going as well.
yeah. I feel like I see like a lot of people doing like setting like bouquets in like acrylic and stuff, and I'm
Yeah,
just like
that's
it feels
right.
very like I know they're trying to preserve them, but it feels very kind of like man-made kind of
Yeah.
yeah. Whereas actually, just a little planty wedding. I imagine the pictures were also amazing.
Oh, they are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It was such a beautiful wedding.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Like just to have like foliage
Yeah,
everywhere. It sounds
absolutely.
great.
So botanical and oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Very different.
We haven't talked about Yoli, and I feel like we ought to. And I think we need to discuss the little wink in the intro that we all wait for.
So I always get asked if the wink was like staged or edited, and it was completely real. Um,
She's a dog. How would you?
she's a clever gal. It was actually, funnily enough, in a pet-friendly plant video that I made. Oh God, probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. It was back when I first started my YouTube channel. I made it sat on my bedroom floor in my mum's basement, and she was on the bed behind me. And yeah, she just sat up at one point and did a little wink, and I kind of winked back at her, and then she did a double wink, and I was like, oh my God.
I've
So
captured
it
this.
has stuck. It's stuck. It's been in my intro ever since.
Oh, and I love how she just kind of like potters about in the background and
Yeah.
occasionally will come in and be like, "What are you up to?"
She likes to be involved, does Yoli. She likes to know
Yeah.
what's going on. And it's funny often, like if I'm filming a video, I don't know if she thinks that I'm talking to someone, but she'll often just come over and kind of just like initially just starts kind of seeing what's going on. And when I start doing things with plants, then she'll settle down again. Uh,
Yeah, she's very good about not getting involved in the like muddy, soily bit unless you edit that out.
there have been times that she has. But on the whole, she's a very good girl. She really is.
She seems very like chill and very kind of
Oh,
good-natured.
in the house, she's very good. She's like we were saying earlier, she's a rescue dog that has come with a whole host of baggage, let's say.
You said she's a Greek rescue.
She's a Greek rescue, yeah. And she's a sweet girl, but she's obviously like, I got her, she's 7 now, but I got her when she was 2.5. Me and my partner at the time got her together.
Mhm.
And she, yeah, she's very nervous with, but much better now than she was, but particularly men that she doesn't know very well. Um, and she sees another dog, and unless she has a chance to get to know that dog, she will be growling, and she goes out plastered in a nervous jacket and muzzle and all sorts. She looks like Hannibal Lecter when she's out and about,
Bless her.
but she's a sweet girl. She really is.
It's so nice to have that company, I think, in the form of, yeah, like I feel like emotional support animal. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
they're just always happy to see you, and they don't expect anything from you as
Mhm.
well. And I just feel like a lot of neurodivergent people, like I feel like we, I don't know, have this like affinity with animals.
Yeah. In some ways, and I don't know if you find the same having an angsty dog, but in some ways I think it almost makes me appear, let's say, when I'm out and about, like a more stable and in control human, because I kind of have to be for her.
Yeah.
Um, which I think is probably quite good for me in some ways. I think, thank you, Yoli. Good timing. We're probably quite good for each other.
Yeah. Talked a bit about ADHD. I mean, it could be interesting to maybe ask you if you considered like ADHD medication.
So I think it is something that I would potentially consider. I'm
Mhm.
definitely not anti-medication in any way, shape, or form. I think it can be incredibly useful for a lot of people. Um, I think, to be honest, the reason that I haven't done it yet is because, as I say, I feel like in some ways I'm still kind of coming to terms with my diagnosis, and actually having like knowing that there's reason behind a lot of things now has actually in some ways made things a lot easier for me already.
Mhm.
It hasn't like eliminated everything, but it has made me, I guess, just kind of be a bit kinder to myself and kind of go, okay, I am having a paralysis moment right now where I cannot stare at the screen, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. That is because of this. And like
Mhm.
like it's helped. Um, so yeah, so far I haven't explored that route. Um, I know we spoke a little bit about this prior to recording this podcast, but like I like growing up, especially late teens, kind of 20s, like drugs were quite became quite a big part of my life in a way that I didn't like. And I think a lot of that, I know again we've spoken about the side of self-medication. I
Mhm.
think in hindsight, although I thought like, no, this is just what people do, this is just fun, I think actually like it was about quietening something in my brain that made me feel like I was operating at a level of like normal. Um,
Mhm.
but I was going to say, I remember the first time very clearly that I went to a party and took cocaine. And I
Mhm.
remember I think the next day or a few days after going out and thinking to myself, oh my God, well, I was so great at that party. That made me feel so normal and it made me feel like I could just chat without anything. So maybe before I get there tonight, maybe I'll just do a little bit by myself. And I did.
Okay.
And I went and I met up with some friends that, well, people that I was kind of becoming friends with, and I felt like I was able to be like the most normal that I'd ever been without a lot of the like zoning out and all of the things that kind of now I know as like ADHD things, but it became a bit of a crutch for me for a while.
Mhm.
Because I was like, oh, I've got the answer. Like I found the answer. Unfortunately, it's not this very healthy thing, but it does mean that I can be normal. So yeah, that is something that like, oh God, I haven't really, I've spoken to some of my close friends about, but it's not something I've really gone into detail with because I think still to this day I feel so embarrassed about it. I feel so much shame around it. Um, and now I again know that self-medication is something that a lot of, I mean, addiction is something that a lot of people go through in general, but I think
Mm.
sometimes if you've got other things going on, it can be your way of creating the reality that you want to live in and feeling like you're accessing yourself better, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
also, it sounds very much like you weren't using it for the high, you were using it for the leveling out.
yeah, I mean,
Whereas,
I was always bad at knowing my limits. Like it would often get taken beyond the point of like just that point.
Mm.
But yeah, the aim was really not to get, yeah, fucked up, but it was more to just, um, yeah, to feel like I could operate normally. Like I'd look at everyone else around me and I was like, no one else seems to be having, or maybe they're just amazing at masking. That's a high possibility as well. But like, no one appears to be having the same thoughts and feelings and not being able to hold focus and keep up. And like, no one else seems to be having that.
Mm.
Um, and if I do this thing, then no one will know that I'm not either. Woohoo. So
Yeah, that's.
yeah.
And did it really kind of quieten down your head? Like, I'm just interested in
I
how it.
thought it did. I thought it did. I've got a few like memories that I look back on now where I was a time where um everyone else was sober and I wasn't, but everyone thought that I was. And I remember a guy that I still know now kind of say to me, "Claire, you're speaking incredibly fast. Are you okay? Is everything all right?" And I was thinking to myself, I was like, no, I was like, I'm fine. I must be absolutely fine because I'm just on track. And I suddenly thought to myself, oh my God, am I just coming across as this, like, I feel okay in myself, but am I just coming across as this awful version of myself that is not me at all?
Mhm.
Um, and as with like a few things in my life that probably fall under the like I guess the darker side of the hyperfixation kind of stuff. Like I also, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, struggled with an eating disorder, which again started as I was at a very low point in my life. Like some stuff had happened and I was in a very low place, but my entire focus went into food and control. And
Right.
that
Because
was
it's
when,
something you can
yeah,
control.
which
Yeah.
I know is like such a common, I mean, I think most people that have been through an eating disorder do relate to that. Um, but I think as I have always had the hyperfixation to the nth degree in my nature, that became my sole hyperfixation. But I think with that and with other unhealthy things such as like drugs and stuff like that over the years, um, it's allowed me to really hit a level of feeling normal and in control because otherwise I don't feel like I am.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, as I say, now that I know a lot of that is probably most likely down to ADHD, it just makes me go, oh my God, like if that in itself feels like such a massive breakthrough for me. And it feels like I don't need to I don't need to make excuses for it anymore. Like I don't need to try and hide it all of the time. I mean, I mask all the bloody time. I'm incredible at it. I think most people can like, especially if you get diagnosed at a later age, you get very used to performing amazingly. Like I
I
think I
mean,
most
you have
of
studied acting as
the time,
well, so
yes,
that's only going to help.
yeah, no, I think I come across as most of the time a pretty normal person. And um yeah, what's going on under the surface a lot of the time doesn't match that. But yeah, at the moment, in a very roundabout way, the the knowing that that is the reason for a lot of stuff has been incredibly comforting to me. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
That's
it's
really
been really
nice.
awesome.
That's really nice to hear. And I appreciate you being like really honest about, the past and stuff because until you know like these things about yourself, you're just trying to do the best in the situation. And it just sounded like you were desperately trying to fit in and just cope and seem normal, even if you
Mm,
weren't feeling any of those things,
yeah,
basically. And yeah, it's sad to hear that you're embarrassed about it, but I understand, looking back and hindsight is like a wonderful thing, but at the time you probably thought that, you were helping yourself by,
yeah.
you know
And I guess maybe embarrassed isn't the right word. I think I guess it's just that it shouldn't be at all. And I'm sure I'll come to a point in my life where I don't feel shame around it and I am able to just talk about it freely. But I think because because it was something that I kept so hidden, and like again, some of these hyperfixations, the unhealthy ones, like there's been a few in my life that I have been like, tuck that away, don't let anyone see that, and then here I am, I'm doing so well, and this is me, and like it's it's very easy, I think, to feel ashamed of those things, because those are the crutches, those are the things that I desperately hid from the world and didn't want anybody to know about. Um, they feel like secrets, I guess, and now I'm
Yeah.
revealing the secrets, and I'm going, "Haha, I had these secrets." But I think the fact that I had those secrets is more in where the shame lies, as opposed to the actual act of them happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. And the fact that you don't use those methods as a crutch
Yeah.
anymore shows, those even just medication can be hard to come
Mm,
off of, let alone, kind of feeling dependent on drugs and alcohol. So I can only imagine that that was really tricky to kind of stop being like reliant on. So yeah, I feel like to have done that as well is quite impressive.
thank
Um,
you. It's genuinely only in hindsight that I look back now and go, "God, that was a problem," because at the time I did not think it was.
mhm.
So yeah, yeah, it does feel wonderful to not, yeah, not have unhealthy crutches in my life anymore. But I think again, I think probably just with myself, with my tendency to hyperfixate, and uh, I self-medicate to a degree when I am in darker places. I think it's just something I always need to be aware of now, but I know that now. I didn't know that
Yeah.
before. I'd like to think I would never, that wouldn't be me again, because I'm
Mhm.
aware of it in a way that I wasn't before. But
Yeah. And also the way that you're labeling that was a hyperfixation, or that was my ADHD, latching onto that, like
mm,
you sound like your inner like traits almost, or like
mm,
behavior, like you're like, I know I'm inclined this way, sort of
mm,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So late diagnosis is not it's like, obviously it's good that it happened,
Mm,
but I do feel like late diagnosis is a bit unfair, because yeah, you don't find out about this stuff until much later.
mm,
um, but yeah, that is interesting, and the fact that you've considered potentially ADHD medication. But
mm.
I don't know, I feel like when it comes to that sort of thing, it's hard because sometimes that's what makes you you,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
There's
Like,
loads of good bits of it as well. This is the thing,
yeah,
like,
yeah, do
yeah,
you want to dampen that, like?
totally. Like, I think a lot of what I feel like makes me like really passionate as a person, really creative, and like I like a lot of the bits of it that
Mm,
I wouldn't want to take away. And I mean, like, I don't know, there's silly little like food hyperfixations and like the patterns that I've always been through in my life, and things that like me and my mum will laugh about, me and my partner now, he'll be like, "Oh God, here we go." And like they're things that they're not that serious. They are just like faces that do. They are obsessive, but um they're like the funny bits of it that aren't so taxing or serious, or like they're the bits that actually, you know what, I feel like I wouldn't quite be myself without those bits.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's nice. And like, to be surrounded by people who just get that and don't make fun of it, but
Mm.
can laugh with you, is so important.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, we're doing this again. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we are, because that's how I am.
Yeah,
And to
absolutely.
just be accepted is huge.
Totally.
I don't know how you found a partner that.
I mean, he teases the heck out of me just in general, but in the most lovely way. Like it's definitely made me, I think, less serious and take things less seriously, because I'm just like, oh, you know what? You can laugh about that. Like it doesn't all have to be doom and gloom. Like,
Yeah,
um, and he's yeah, yeah, no, he's awesome. He's got a really lovely outlook on a lot of things that I think actually align very well with a lot of mine, that do just kind of make me go, yeah, you know what? That's hilarious. We're allowed to laugh at that.
yeah, exactly. And I also kind of love that you've kind of got the garden together as like a project
Mm.
sort of thing, that you can kind of both. Because didn't he build like a pizza thing or something?
He has, like, honestly, he is peaked since we've moved in. He has, like, found the garden and, like, found his new passion, and yeah, he built this incredible, like, barbecue pizza oven, having never built anything really before in his life, got these, like, massive sandstone bricks that we carted through the house, and, yeah, it
Cool.
was his project over summer, and it's so amazing, it really is.
So do you have to? You haven't got like exit in your garden? Does everything have to come through the house?
Everything has to come through the house because we're in a
Oh,
terraced house. So
right.
yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I say it was interesting. He did do the majority of this. I think I helped for about half a day with lugging things through, but it was all him otherwise.
Excellent. But that's nice that you kind of got that to kind of, I don't know, just work on and potter around together. Like
Yeah.
that's really nice as well. And to have a pizza oven is, only a good thing.
Brilliant. I was gonna say, like, it's the dream.
Oh, that must be so weird to go from a flat to then, have just space.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a shock to the system because I think as well, as I say, like, one-bedroom flats, 300 plants, big dog, then Ross. We put up a mezzanine at one point in the flat to try and, like, create a little bit more room, so we were, like, sleeping up a ladder and, um,
Oh, okay.
we tried desperately to kind of get the best out of everything in that flat, and the flat was lovely, but, yeah, it feels so nice to have space to play with now.
Yeah, I bet.
Real live adult. Feels good.
Oh. Yeah, I felt that as well when you were like, I need to do my tax return. I was like,
Oh god,
oh,
I know. I hear these things come out of me sometimes and I'm like, "I am a grown up, aren't I?"
damn it. The bills and the tax.
I know. Ugh.
I wish they make it way more simpler, but
Oh
yeah.
god, shouldn't they just?
I guess maybe we could wrap it up with what you're hoping kind of the future of your YouTube channel is and your kind of social media presence. That would be interesting.
So yeah, I guess so.
Big question, sorry.
No, not at all, not at all. It's a fun question to answer actually, because I think it's constantly changing for me. As I said, I have so many ideas and some of them really stick and others kind of float into the background. Others will come back like a year later and I'll be like, ah, cool. We meet again. Um, but with YouTube, I mean, my real focus has been kind of from the start balancing like purely educational content with content that feels very much like hanging out with a friend and body doubling and kind of learning as we go type thing. People like, let's chill and chat and like do things at a leisurely pace that doesn't have to be so like boom, 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 boom. Um, and so, yeah, I really want to continue that. I thought there's already things that I think I could be doing better with my channel. I think it's easy when you've been doing something a very long time to get lazy in certain areas. And I often think like, oh, no, I should have taken more time to do that. And I should have, um, yeah. So I think kind of having a bit of a refresh in that sense. I've got lots of ideas in terms of venturing out of the house projects that I'd like to do a little bit more of, like
Ooh.
maybe going around and looking at other people's collections and seeing how other people are doing things, and just I guess expanding the community aspect of my channel a little bit more, because that's something I never really knew or thought would be such a big focus when I first started. I kind of thought that I'd perhaps be this hub of information that people would drop in on and get what they needed to then go. And over the years, it has kind of become quite a community. So I'd really like to just continue that as much as I possibly can and build on that and invite people in. Like, even if, like I say, even if you're not into plants, like come and see if you like the community. And like, it's, it's just a lovely thing to feel involved in. So yeah, moving forward, that's a very big focus.
Oh, that's exciting. And yeah, that would be so cool to see other people's collections or
Mm,
like I know with the plant rescuer, like sometimes she'll go and do
yes.
that or she
Yeah.
will essentially rescue a plant that's been there forever. Like
Mm.
I don't know, it's like grown into the house almost.
Yeah,
um and I love those ones. It's just like, oh, how are other people living? Like how are
it's so
other people
cool.
styling
Yeah,
stuff?
absolutely.
So that would be really cool. Like just to yeah, hear people's kind of passion.
A lot of people aren't on social media as well, and more people are coming away from
Yeah.
social media. And I know lots of people that have zero social media presence but have the most insane collections and are doing things in really cool ways. And I'm like, absolutely understandable. You don't want to put yourself online, but like how interesting to be able to get a look into like how you're doing things and
Hmm.
the cool creative things that we may never have heard of before. And someone might go, oh my goodness, I've got a bucket and a glass. I can do that at home. And
Yeah.
yeah, I find that side of it just so fascinating. And Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that's really exciting. And the fact that you're keen to kind of, keep bringing new people into the community and showing people that it is an accessible thing that you can do. And yeah, I think that's really, it's a nice focus to have. You're not just like money ads.
Yeah. Oh,
Even though that is important to keep your channel going, I
I
get
was gonna
that.
say gotta pay the bills, but it's
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
very lucky that most of the time I do get to create around the things that I really do love.
that's
Um,
good.
yeah, it's yeah, as I say, feel very lucky.
Oh, well, thank you so much for spending nearly an hour and a half of your life
Not at
chatting
all.
to me.
Not
Um,
at all. It's been so lovely, genuinely. It's been a pleasure.
oh, thank you. And yeah, where can people follow you online?
Primarily YouTube, so I'm the Jungle Haven on YouTube. I am on Instagram, and I will post occasionally on Instagram, but I'm not very good at maintaining social media presence on there. So yeah, Jungle Haven on Instagram as well. Um, and I've got a Patreon as well. On Patreon, I do all of the same content I do over on YouTube, like bonus videos. But I also do 2 live chats every single month, which is where people can log on and we just chat. We chat about all sorts. Like we try and keep it primarily plant focused, but we speak a lot about just life and neurodivergence and just struggles that all of us kind of encounter. And again, it's just a lovely community. I've got fantastic friends that I've made over there now.
Oh,
Um,
that's
so
nice.
yeah, that's just another little side bit to YouTube. But YouTube's the main one.
Okay. And do you have just like a one tier Patreon?
I do. I used to have multiple tiers, but in order to kind of just make it as accessible as possible,
Yeah.
I think it's £2 a month.
Okay.
Uh, I've got a free tier as well, that occasionally I'll put stuff on. So if you're interested in potentially joining up at some point, but you're not quite sure, you won't be bombarded with notifications either. It's just literally if I post, you'll be told, would you
Mhm.
like to see this post?
Okay,
Um,
that's quite
yeah.
nice. Okay, amazing. I will put those in the show notes. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Not at all, not at all.